Tyrians! Rezmerize is back with another build and playstyle video for Mesmer PvP. I am currently running Chaos, Illusions, and Mirage. Let's start with Chaos. We gain regeneration at 75% health, and each time we gain regeneration, we get 3 seconds of protection. And when we heal, we now get lesser Chaos Storm, mainly for the Aegis and Retaliation, plus added conditions for our foes. Chaotic Transference provides a lot of condition damage based on toughness, and my new build runs a lot of toughness. We also get a nice little increase in boon and condition duration with Chaotic Persistence. And now, instead of those blinds with shatters, we get boons based on the shatter we use. More on those later in this guide. From the Illusions tree, I still run the same setup. Cry of Pain adds more conditions to our F2 shatter. The Pledge adds burning and shorter recharge on Torch. Compounding Power increases our damage output after creating illusions. Maim the Disillusioned gives all of our shatters Torment. Master of Misdirection reduces the recharge on shatters, which is noticeably useful. And Malicious Sorcery increases the attack speed of our Scepter as well as reducing its recharge. As you know, I'm a big fan of Scepter for Mesmers, not only because it's not used by most Mesmers and in Mesmer builds, and I'm a sucker for being unique, but also because my playstyle revolves around speed. I want short cooldowns, fast animations, and little if any cast times when I fight, and the Scepter Torch combo gives me that. I still love Mirage. The Mirage Cloak dodge is, in my opinion, the best dodge in the game. I switched my first tier to Self-Deception to maintain decent clone production. Shatters provide Vigor, and Vigor provides extra condition damage, great for Mirage and this build in particular. I still run Desert Distortion for the mirrors, more about that later. We still get super speed with our Mirage Cloak and our dodges. I switched from Infinite Horizon to Doom Cloak for the bleeding and 20% duration increase on conditions applied to bleeding foes. On my Scepter Torch, I run the Sigil of Confusion for increased confusion duration and Sigil of Agony for increased bleeding duration. I love mobility and still use the sword focus with the agility and energy sigils on weapon swapping. Because this is a straight condition build, and thanks to the Chaos tree we get extra condition damage based on toughness, I run the Rabid Amulet for 1200 condition and 900 toughness, and the Rune of the Undead for condition damage and toughness, plus another 7% of toughness converted to condition damage, resulting in 1,715 in condition damage, which is increased by Vigor and Compounding Power, providing virtually the highest condition damage stat you can get, at least for Mesmers. Now, let's talk about how I use each skill, and most importantly, how skills can be combined, because the ability to layer skills together can take you from good to great. Starting with mobility, using sword focus you can dodge, which for the Mirage will change your auto attack to an ambush ability. And for the sword, it is a leap. Just make sure you do not have a target selected, or you will leap toward the target instead of the direction you are headed. At full endurance, you can do this twice to cover a good distance. With Focus 4, you can provide swiftness. I start every match by putting this down so that my entire team can benefit from it. I use it when traveling between nodes or racing to one of the map's objectives. This can also be used when you have to retreat from a fight, because not only do you gain swiftness, but any foes that cross it are crippled. For an added benefit, use Focus 4 again before it finishes and enemies near it are pulled toward it. So as they try to pursue you, crippled, wait a second or two and hit Focus 4 again to close it and pull them backwards. If you really want to maximize this mobility combo, when you want to rotate away from an overrun point, switch to sword focus, which will give you quickness and 25 endurance from the sigils. Throw up your focus 4 curtain out ahead of you, then dodge into a sword 1 for a leap through the curtain, which is a leap finisher that combos with a light field, giving you a light aura for 5 seconds, which gives you retaliation if you are struck, and incoming condition damage is reduced 10%. And don't forget to close your curtain to pull them to it if they pursue. The most widely used skill used by nearly every Mesmer is Blink, and for good reason. In terms of mobility, you can really move from one place to another very quickly with it. Lastly, Jaunt is a great multi-purpose skill, which I will talk more about later, but one of the many things Jaunt can provide is added mobility. I use it to get up onto areas you can't jump up to, and I use it if I'm being chased to, or I'm stunned outside of, a node to quickly shadow step into the point. Now that I've explained in detail the many ways I use mobility in this build, let's see it in action.
Hold on to your points. Seize theirs. An enemy ship is pulling into the harbor. It's the Capricorn. The dock's been captured. They've taken the bazaar from you. The bazaar is yours.
Now that you're fast, let's get furious. The auto attack chain for Scepter provides clone production on every 3rd hit, and if you dodge into Scepter 1 for ambush, you get Ether Barrage, which hits 5 times, applies Confusion or Torment on each hit, providing 5 stacks of conditions. I love the Scepter 2 block. It's an instant speed skill that provides a brief evade, followed by a block, and your block gives them 5 stacks of torment, which in this build hits like a truck. Plus, it has a very short cooldown at 4.5 seconds, providing frequent defense and offense simultaneously. Overall, a great value. Also, note that you can move while channeling your block and cast shatters as well. If they anticipate your block and wait it out, you can press Scepter 2 again to cast Counterspell, which blinds them, so either way you're stopping an attack. Scepter 3 channel hits for decent damage and dings your target for 6 stacks of confusion. Like Scepter 2 block and other channels, you can move and use shatters and dodges all while channeling this skill, and it's also an instant cast spell on a fairly short cooldown as well. When you first use Torch 4, you go into stealth, apply blindness on your foe, and lose a condition on yourself. Seconds later, you explode, giving 2 stacks of burning, one long, one short. Torch 5 has a few things happening that are important to be aware of. First, and it doesn't show up on the tooltip, you get a 3-second stack of burning from the pledge, just as you do with Torch 4, and then there are 2 long stacks of burning from 2 sources. One around you when you cast it, and the other is applied by your phantasm you create. This spell has a 1200 range, but if you cast it from range, you are wasting it. You get maximum damage from it in melee range, otherwise only one of the 3 stacks of burning will be applied. In addition to burning, your phantasm also applies 3 stacks of confusion and a half-second daze. I mentioned Jaunt was a multi-purpose skill and covered the mobility part of it, but in addition to mobility, it adds offense and defense as well. Jaunt is an instant ammo skill and fully charged can be used 3 times. Defensively, it removes a condition each time you use it. Offensively, it adds 3 stacks of confusion. Jaunting 3 times in a row during a fight will remove 3 conditions and apply 9 stacks of confusion on your foe. In addition, you don't need a target selected, so it's easier to hit a shifty Mesmer with it or anyone in stealth.
I need help.
Shatters are important to any Mesmer build. Mind Rack is a popular hard-hitting skill for power Mesmers, and it's very damaging in meta right now. But in this straight-up condition build, Mind Rack becomes more of a utility shatter. In this build, with Bountiful Disillusionment, Mind Rack provides 3 stacks of might, giving you an extra 90 condition damage. The Mind Rack tooltip shows 5 stacks, but it's actually only 3. And because of Nomad's Endurance, you get Vigor, and Vigor adds 150 condition damage. So Mind Rack increases your Condi damage stat by 240, taking you from 1715 to 1955. That's really high. And you get those boosts regardless of how many clones you have, and you don't even need a target. So it's a great 0 clone shatter ability on a relatively short cooldown. And if you do have clones, each shatter provides a stack of torment as well. Also, thanks to Bountiful Disillusionment, you get 1 second of stability from each of your shatters as well. Mind Rack, being your utility shatter in this build, is also great to use when you need that stability. 1 second doesn't sound like a lot, but remember, do things with a purpose, not just randomly mash buttons. The build centers around speed, right? Many skills are instant, but there are a few skills with a short cast time, each under 1 second, including a very important one, your heal. If you want to avoid being interrupted, especially on a heal, use Mind Rack or any other available shatter right before healing, because that 1 second is all you need to get your heal off safely. Your F2 Shatter, Cry of Frustration, is your heavy condition damage shatter and is best used with a full set of 3 clones. Even though I run a range weapon, I typically try to fight melee as much as possible, because not only do you get shatter effects from each clone, but on yourself as well. That's why the F1 Mind Rack, you don't even need clones or a target to get the boons. Therefore, a 3 clone shatter with F2 will proc 4 times for a total of 12 stacks of confusion and 4 stacks of torment. Plus you get over 10 seconds of Vigor, which also increases your Condi damage. Landing this ability hits really hard, so you want to have full clones and time it after they've used an evade or a block to lower their chances of avoiding. Your F3 Shatter, Diversion, is your interrupt skill because it dazes your target. It also provides Torment, Vigor, and Fury, but the daze is when and why you use this Shatter. It is to interrupt a heal, or on a foe trying to res a teammate before you can finish them, or during your finishing stomp to avoid being interrupted yourself. Plus, you get 1 second of stability to protect against a second attempt to interrupt you, and you use it to interrupt someone trying to finish off one of your own teammates. The F4 Shatter, Distortion, is an excellent defensive shatter, equally important to your defense as F2 Cry of Frustration is to your offense, and best used with as many clones as possible, but certainly used in any high pressure burst that you need to avoid, because each shatter effect, 4 total on a 3 clone shatter, will get you 1 second of invulnerability, taking no damage from attacks or conditions during that time. In addition, because of Desert Distortion, each of your shattered clones leave behind a Mirage mirror. Wait for your invulnerability to wear off, then one by one pick up those mirrors. Each one is an evade, just like a dodge, and puts weakness on nearby foes. In all, if you have 2 or 3 clones out when you use an F4 Shatter with Distortion, you can avoid several seconds of damage, which can make a huge difference in any fight. I have 3 more skills to discuss. First up is the heal, False Oasis. As long as you remain in range of it, it's the best heal ability for Mesmer. In this build, thanks to Descent into Madness, you get Lesser Chaos Storm, which provides multiple pulses for Aegis, Retaliation, and Swiftness, while foes get chilled, weakened, poisoned, and dazed. All really strong defensive items, which you obviously need if you are healing. But there's more. You can also combo this heal with either a Jaunt, which is a leap finisher in an ethereal field, or Torch 4, which is a blast finisher in the ethereal field. Both provide chaos armor. When you are struck, you get protection, regeneration, or swiftness, and foes that strike you get weakness, confusion, or cripple. Plus, both Jaunt or Torch 4 removes a condition which you probably need if you're healing, and Torch 4 obviously has the added benefit of stealth. So there is a lot of great value in your heals. Illusionary Ambush is a fun skill. You and all your illusions shadow step around your target and gain Mirage Cloak. With Mirage Cloak, you get an evade, so it's an extra dodge ability. You get access to your Scepter 1 ambush ability, which stacks up conditions, and using this ability breaks enemy targeting. It's also an instant cast ability that can be used like your shatters and dodges while you channel other abilities. You can, for example, be in the middle of your Scepter 3 channel and use it without breaking the channel, which you finish from your new position. Where it comes in really useful is during a finishing stomp. Finishes are extremely important to a PvP match, so I use Illusionary Ambush during my finishing stomp for a fun little effect. When you are repositioned by Illusionary Ambush while using a melee weapon, like the axe for example, you and your clones are placed in melee range of the target. But with a ranged weapon like Scepter, you are placed at range, offering the perfect opportunity for a teleport stomp from safety. Randomly teleport to range during the animation to avoid ground AoE and interrupts from foes, then blink back just in time to finish the stomp. You can even jaunt back if you're close enough. If you want extra security in finishing the stomp, add a dodge in during your teleport back. It's a fun way to finish opponents. Try it, you'll love it. I use it a lot. The last skill to cover is Mirage Advance. This utility spot can really be anything you like, and sometimes I switch it up for fun or specific reasons. On certain maps or with certain teams, I'll change this to Portal, for example.
You have all 3 points. Hold them at all costs.
Or if you have any other utility that you just love having, put it here. The reason Mirage Advance is my default go-to utility is for the port in and port out ability. For both shatters and for burning, you want to be on your target for the maximum effect. Easier to do in a 1v1, but in team fights with lots of deadly AoE on the point, not so easy. And this allows us to drop in quickly to use any of those skills and blinding them, then port back out of harm's way, breaking enemy targeting on the return, and as long as you have one active clone, you generate 2 more. Because it's a deception skill used twice, and with self-deception, as long as you have at least 1 clone, you generate a clone when using a deception skill, of which I'm using 4 deceptions. This one can be used twice, and Jaunt can be used 3 times. So that's a lot of great clone production for 3 clone F2 and F4 shatters, maximizing offense and defense as needed. That covers in depth the skills I use and how I use them. If you enjoy my videos, please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to tell your guildmates to check it out too. I'm Rezmerize, and thanks for watching.